Welcome to GREYS, your one-stop shop to finding winners across Australia from the world of greyhound racing. Host David Shortte is joined by Hall of Famer Neil Brown, Jason Campbell to look at Queensland and Tasmanian chasing, Sean Matheson looking at South Australian chasing, New South Wales expert Simon Orchard, and the Shane Train Williams rounds it out with his key plays and kennel mail in WA. Now, over to the team for this week's edition of GREYS.
Good morning and welcome along to GREYS on this Thursday, the 12th of December 2024. It's 2 minutes after 10. David Shortte with you. Hope you're travelling really well. Looking forward to a big few days in store in greyhound racing. Well, we just heard from Davo there interviewing one of the Melbourne trainers saying, well, you've got to drop in and make sure you have a couple in Coogee. One man that did just that only a few weeks ago when the Everest was on was a Shane Train Williams. He now joins us on GREYS. Hello, Train.
Good morning, Shorty. Good morning, listeners. Yeah, certainly did, Shorty. It was needed a set of blinkers there a couple of days there at Coogee Bay, but it was a great weekend, that one, mate.
Yes, well, I'm not sure whether or not the set of shades would have helped you or not. I think you were tracking well enough at the time, to be fair, but it was a good time, and I'll certainly sign off on that. It's a wonderful spot, one of the best pub taps in the land, I'd suggest there, Coogee Beach. Right on the beach and wonderful establishment. So, yeah, if you're in Sydney town, do drop in there and have a drink and a punt. There's lots of great pub tabs, though, here locally, and a man that's seen plenty of them in recent weeks is the Shane Train. He's been at all of the racing on the road events. They've been incredibly successful, Shane-o, and big thanks to all of our local industry that have been a big part of supporting it and getting behind it. It's been a big 4 weeks and one left to go tomorrow there at the Brook.
Yeah, they've been a lot of fun, Shorty. Yeah, good laugh and not take things too seriously, which is, I think, a good thing in life when you can just have a laugh and be merry and be cheerful and have a chat to people that you've never met before. So I've met a few good people along the way at them road shows, and yeah, tomorrow's the last one, so no doubt they'll get a big crowd there tomorrow.
Most definitely, and they've opened the train line up just in time for everybody to get up there to Ellenbrook, the Brook Bar and Bistro. Make sure you get along and support that, your last chance. Final week of the Pinnacles as well. We've got another Tab Touch Punters Challenge Day out there. Good luck. Looking forward to meeting plenty of new punters for a big day out there trackside at Ascot on Saturday as well. Well, plenty going on as well. Last Saturday was big day trackside, but Sunday night was a special night for our local industry, Shane-o. 50 years in greyhound racing here in WA. It was a huge celebration there at the Canning Agricultural Society on Sunday night at a gala event put together incredibly well by Dave Simonetti, and it was a great recap of 5 decades of the sport here in WA. Some of the vision from the early days, right back to in the early 1970s. It took a few years for greyhound racing to finally get signed off on and up and running. A number of people went broke in the process, but it was eventually in December 1974 that greyhound racing got up and going, and the vision of the crowd, 17-odd thousand people crammed into Cannington there on opening night. What a night that looked to be.
Yeah, Shorty, that was actually today, the 12th of December 1974, so the 50 years comes up today, and as you said, magnificently produced by Simo. I'm not sure why he's not over in Hollywood directing film, Shorty. He's a gun at what he does, and for me, only been here 8 years, watching that, Shorty, seeing back in the early 70s and 80s, the hardship that the trainers went through was just eye-opening for me, and it was my eyes were glued to that screen all night, mate. I had a terrific night, and yeah, I was lucky enough to be sitting at the table with the Robertsons, and they got up and spoke really well, and their daughter Jodie was there, and she was really proud of her mum and dad, and looks like she's going to take on the legacy from them, so it's good to see, Shorty, and yeah, everyone just mingled, new and old, and it was a great night, well put together by Greyhounds WA and Simo, and hats off to everyone involved, and including yourself, mate. You spoke really well, along with Pete, James, and Craig Evans.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be involved in the night, to be honest, for so many of us that have been a part of it for a really significant period of time. It's been an industry that's meant so much to so many And lovely too. There was some lovely touches through the night. Some of the tributes that were paid to some of the people that have meant a lot to the sport in years gone by. Was barely a dry eye in the house when the Guru was announced as the celebrity of greyhound racing over that 5-decade period. He wheeled out a track, one of his favourite tracks, and on the harmonica, and the place got right around him. He's been an incredible character. Linda Britton, of course, crowned the leading trainer over that 50-year period, and was delighted to see Miata named the #1 greyhound out of the state over 5 decades. Paul Stewart spoke incredibly well. And she was just a wonderful bitch, broke track records over all distances. She was, it didn't matter where she went around Australia, she just dominated, lit up Group 1 races all over the place, handled the travel. Many of those Group 1 wins were by big spaces. She was just an absolute superstar.
I don't think you would have got any arguments, Shorty, from the #1 greyhound that people voted on there. And, Paul Stewart's been a very good friend of mine, and like you said, he spoke really well. He's very humble, but it even meant a lot to him, that. So, hats off to him, and I'm very proud of him and what he done with that dog. So, like I said, great night. Wish there was more of them, Shorty, but just glad the industry come together and enjoyed the night.
Yeah, most definitely. And, of course, the #1 sprinter of all time was also announced on the night, and it was the great Sandy's me mum, who, of course, had that wonderful relationship with his trainer, Jerry O'Keefe. She was a star, dual national sprint champion. Tommy Shelby was #2 on the sprint list, and he came and paid the crowd a visit. He was very popular. He almost got round to every lap in the place to say hello, Tommy, on the night. That was pretty cool. Yeah,
he certainly did, and it was an eye-opener for some when old Tommy walked in. But getting back to Sandy's me mum, she was a great bitch, Shorty, and the son of Betty Lorimer spoke really well as well. And the meticulous training that Jerry O'Keefe done with that dog was quite interesting, and the tactics he sort of had to come up with to beat the little sister Sand Pebble, they were good, and just a great night altogether. And again, hats off to Simo, Shorty. He's done a great job.
Yeah, no doubt. It was Colin Lorimer who came and spoke, and he spoke with great clarity of the time in their life where they had Sandy's me mum and that incredible litter, just absolutely airborne. It was really, really special. I'll just quickly go through the sprinters and stayers 10-1 as they were voted on by a panel for the 50 years of greyhound racing. From the sprinters, #10, Prince of Tigers, the great national sprint champ from '97, Jim Robertson trained. #9 was Miss Slick for Pammy and Max Julian, 100 starts, 30 wins, won a Perth Cup All-Stars, WA Oaks and Spring Gift. #8, Elite Machine, Nigel, as he was known there at Jamie Marsh's place, 24 wins and 6 placings from 47 starts with over $1 million in stakes. A dual Group 1 winner with the Brisbane and Perth Cups, Lou Dawson Memorial. Bright Idea, WA's first ever champion, won 32 wins, was a Greyhound of the Year in 1975. The great Sam Pebble held 4 track records at one time. Mandurah and Cannington 530 and 638 metres, was an absolute star. Reggie Mite came in at #5, 51 starts for 34 wins. He held the Mandurah and Cannington 530 metre track records, won the Shootout All-Stars, WA Derby, Mandurah Derby, was the 1998 WA Greyhound of the Year. Mr. Toe White was #4, was the first WA Greyhound to go east and win a feature event, won the WA Derby, WA Sprint National Sprint Final at Angle Park. #3, Blue Echo in '84, never unplaced in 26 starts at Cannington, winning 22 of them. #2, Tommy Shelby, amazing record, and won Sandy's me mum. They were the sprinters. And the stayers, 10-1, again, just talking about absolute roll gold of the sport. Coming in at #10 was Laddie's a Star, 9 Ron Ray Dancer, 8 On Busy, 7 Wits End, 6 Jamali Park, 5 Genev, 4 Supreme Carmen, 3 Paradise Street, 2 Afro Freeway, and #1 all time here in WA, Miata. Congratulations to all 20 of those dogs that were recognised on the night. A massive, massive achievement to be ranked in the top 10 all time over 5 decades of greyhound racing. All right, Train, that's in the rear view mirror now, done and dusted. Looking forward to heading forward with plenty more great nights out there at the track. A big night out was how it's been advertised for a pretty significant period of time, and we're looking forward to one of those on Saturday night because it's anniversary Cup Heat night, and the good news is Cannington is reopened for business.
Yeah, Shorty, I actually went and trialled there today, and track to me doesn't seem to have changed much, and I know a lot of the boys that have trialled have said their dogs are run similar times to what they were running before, so ready to rock and roll on Saturday night. 2 heats anniversary cup, a little bit light on, but that can be expected with the first meeting back. And Paul Stewart will play a big hand in them heats on Saturday night, I think, Shorty.
Oh, I think you'll be bang on the mark again. I think his dogs will probably be really well suited with a different configuration rather than being on a bend start, that bit of opportunity to really wind up. And I think I'll be completely honest, from a punting perspective, give it 2 or 3 weeks to just iron itself out and get up and running. I'm really thinking that punters can sort of get back on top of things. It's been a pretty challenging 6-7 months, I found personally, with a lot of dogs racing at Mandurah that aren't probably suited to racing at Mandurah. With the right dogs now racing at the tracks that they prefer racing at and all options being open to them, I think we'll find a lot cleaner racing, and I think the form will hold up a bit truer personally.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, it's probably a good thing for some dogs to have a break away from Cannington. They'll get back there. It'll be a new lease of life for some of them dogs, and you'll find that they'll go on their winning ways there with a bit of luck early.
Most definitely. All right, we'll get through your tips and then we'll touch on your star canine Iconic Jet, who is one of the favourites going into Saturday night's Group 1 Silver Chief final there at the Meadows. Tonight we're chasing there at Mandurah. Anything take your fancy?
Yeah, we'll kick it off race 5, number 1, Kenya Kraken. He's a massive grade dropper here, coming out of provincial free-for-all and provincial grade 4 company, right back to a country grade 5-6. He gets the cherry, which he loves, and he gets all the favours tonight, Shorty. I think it'll see him cash in here and return to the winner's circle. Race 5, number 1, Kenya Kraken will be the best bet for me tonight.
Like it. Race 5, numero uno, Kenya Kraken, the BB of the night for the Train. On to the next of them.
Race 6, number 1, Ned. He's dropping back to the 300-metre trip. He's been racing over 400, obviously, and he's got a hot PB of 16.76, which he ran back in July. Generally has good box winners and shows good muster off the mat. Another one dropping in the grades here, Shorty. Lethal record track and trip, 8 starts for 5 wins. Hard to beat, Ned, race 6, number 1.
Yeah, gets a nice draw here, doesn't he, Ned? Looks to be very well placed for a dog that's traditionally been racing on the Friday nights up against much tougher fields and often over 400. Has run into a lot of strong dogs. You'd think off the inside here, Rocket Rod Node could have Ned nice and fresh, ready to ping, bang, straight up on the arm, and running to those sorts of times would be very hard to beat. And the third of your plays tonight there at Mandurah.
We'll go race 7, number 2, Nova Girl. I like a little freshen up for this dog and a drop in distance. It could be enough for her to get back into the winners list, Short. You can also add a huge grade drop and an inside draw. We might get a decent price here to have a little bet each way. I haven't seen prices yet, but she's getting a bit long in the tooth, but this does look a suitable race for her tonight, race 7, number 2, Nova Girl.
Okay, so we've got race 5, number 1, Kenya Kraken, the best of them. Race 6, number 1, Ned. Race 7, number 2, in Nova Girl. So we'll touch on Iconic Jet in a moment. Anything else from the kennel worth watching out for over the next few days?
Curious Georgia's back tomorrow night, Shorty. Probably the small field doesn't suit her. She's going to be better when she can get into a race like the Heat of the Birthday Cup, where it's full 8-dog field and she can spear in front and get out and go, and it could be possibly a little bit of trouble behind. Maybe Hobbies might get the camp on her this week, but just keep following her. She'll be cherry ripe come Birthday Cup Heat night, and we just give her a little freshen up, and she's back this week. But, whatever she does, she'll improve on, and she'll be hopefully finding them good early box winners like she did last time she was in.
Magnificent. So we'll watch out for her, Curious Georgia, in the upcoming weeks. And now let's get to the big one of the weekend from your perspective, the Meadows on Saturday night. And we get to see your very talented sprinter, Iconic Jet, chasing that Group 1 victory. And this is going to be a wonderful opportunity. We saw the dog trial incredibly quick. We then, last week in the heats from box number 2, had to do a little bit of work in the early stages to get around the red dog and get to the top, set some sizzling mid-race fractions, and then just got a little bit wary the last little bit. How's the dog done this week to start off with?
Yeah, no, he's had a really good week this week, Shorty. I just got off the phone with Brendan before, who just popped on a plane to go to Hobart tonight. He's got one in the Hobart 1000, so wishing him a bit of luck in that race. And he went into the Meadows on Monday, had his traditional walk-on, and you know, went a bit nuts there. And then he just had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the run. So he's done all his work now. He'll have tomorrow off, just chill out there, and he'll be ready to go Saturday, Shorty. It's very exciting to have a run in a Group 1, and you just cannot describe the feeling of the adrenaline when that green light goes on and you got a runner in a Group 1 race. It's I can't describe it. I've been lucky enough to be in 4 so far, and we've had 2 fourths and 2 thirds, so we're getting closer. And if he was to happen to win on Saturday night, it would you might see a few Chris Waller tears, I'd say, because for me, we bred him ourselves, and that's extra special. And Jay's coming across with me, so we're got a big cheer squad there, and hopefully he can do WA proud.
No, win, lose or draw, the dog will. He's been a wonderful campaigner to this point. 21 starts, 14 wins, 3 placings, more than 104,000. But this would be the crowning moment. And really, when you break down this dog's racing pattern, it just pretty simple. You just need the dog to spear and get that bit of room to muster. And if you can get that, he's every chance to be able to muster across the face of the field, and if he can get to the top and run them along, they might have some work cut out chasing it down late.
Yeah, that's his best asset, Shorty. He can ping on his night. You see him run a 5.57 early split at Mandurah. I don't think many have gone that quick before in the past, and then he just rails so well through the bend there, and that's when he makes up a lot of ground. He's running 17.50 up the back. Like, not many dogs can do that, so... but the key is the star. He's just got to get that right and find the top, because even though he's a little bit weak in the run home last week, he's actually not weak at all. He ran 12.05 run home in his trial, but last week there was a little bit of winds around that prevented the run home time from being as good as it was. So, but in saying that, Shorty, you know, race 9, he's going to be in the kennels for a while, so hopefully reserves a lot of energy in there and just get that start right, and we're going to let Brendan handle him on Saturday, so hopefully he can get him to the front and get the job done for us.
Well, it's incredibly exciting. You're going to have the support of the West right with you there on Saturday night train, mate. We'll be cheering incredibly hard for Iconic Jet. Let's hope that this dog can get you the Group 1 glory that you deserve there on Saturday night, mate. Enjoy the trip over. Win, lose or draw, like I said, just be incredibly proud of this dog and the training achievement to get him through to this big Group 1 final. And fingers crossed he can deliver for you there on Saturday night. We'll be ripping the place down if he can, mate. Go get him.
Thanks very much, Shorty. Really appreciate your support, mate, and all the best to the punters over the weekend.
You're listening to Great Greys on Tab Radio.
Where it's now 22 minutes after 10 o'clock, time to get across to our great mate Jason Campbell to have a look at tonight's program at Albion Park and, of course, Hobart 1000 night down there on the Apple Isle. Hello, JC. How are you, mate?
Very well, Shorty. How do you do?
I do very nicely indeed, thank you. It's very warm across here in the west. How's the weather over in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, perfect day over here, probably about 27 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. Got to drive over the Harbour Bridge today, so life is very well for me, Shorty. Cannot complain one iota.
Yeah, well, nor should you be complaining, young man. You've got things going very nicely in your world. Let's get into helping the punters find a winner or two tonight up there at Albion Park. It's not a bad program. Some of the top-end talent in Queensland is very, very strong at the moment. We get to see their star stayer, Valpolicella, going around. Summer sprint heats are also on this card tonight. There's some good chasing there.
Yeah, great chasing. Q Gold Night up there. We've got summer sprint heats. We've got the emerging sprinters, as well as a final over the 600 metres where Tagovailoa, who was brilliant last week over the 520, jumps up to the 600 here, and he's a very dominant favourite for the Prince, who had another night to remember last week.
He has. We've actually touched on it a couple of times over the last few months, just how much Tommy Zavalis has been smashing them up there in Queensland, winner after winner, and you bang on the mark. He had a huge time of it there last week, and along with Jeddah Cutlack, they look set to have a pretty decent evening once again tonight there at the Creek. Let's go through your better bets on the program. It all gets underway in race number 3.
Yes, I'm teaming up with the Jeddah Cutlack kennel and the Tommy Zavellas kennel. Race 3, number 2, Duffman. We're with this chase for 2 starts to go over the 600 metres. I didn't jump too cleanly on that occasion, got too far back, and was never really a hope. It was a pretty ordinary tip in the end, Shorty, but hopefully he can repay the face tonight. He lines up in a really small race here. There's only 5 runners set to go around, and most importantly, he's drawn right behind the speed of Kia Kaha and Super Scrub. I think he can sit 3rd in running, and he is definitely the strongest of the 3 late in the piece. So I think him at second favourite is a pretty fair enough price to take. I think he should be close to the favourite, so expect the market to trend that way closer to jump.
Alrighty, we team up with the check runner in race 3, number 2, Duffman. Then we move on to a race number 7 on the program, the free-for-all over the 710 metres.
Yeah, I've made Valpolicella my best bet of the night. Going against the market here, Horace Luna's been really heavily supportive for Gemma Daly. Since stepping up to the 710 metres, her last 2 efforts have been absolutely blinding, showing really good speed to lead and win by big margins, running really fast sections. But I just think the way Valpolicella's going right now, she's hit her best form once again. She's won her last 2 races in really brilliant fashion. I think she's a dog that I haven't really teamed up too much in the past, purely because she is normally a very, very short price favourite. I think having her as second favourite is somewhat disrespectful, considering she is Queensland's star stayer. And if she is close enough, she's going to run down Horace Luna in the back end of this race. So pretty confident Valpolicella can get over the favourite Horace Luna in the 7th race of the night.
Yeah, very nice. So you're getting black odds about Valpolicella, and as JC alluded to, generally when she races in Queensland, that hasn't happened too many times in her 70-start career. She's won 36 of them with a further 22 placings. $1,095,000 in stake money, if you do not mind punters. Wouldn't you like to have one like that in the backyard, JC?
I don't know if that will ever happen, Shorty, unfortunately, but hopefully one day we can dream for it.
We can keep dreaming. We can keep trying anyway. Nothing's stopping us from trying, that's for sure. And we round things out in race number 9 tonight there at Albion Park.
Yeah, teaming up with the Zavellas kennel once again. It's obviously been a pretty good formula in recent months. Race 9, number 1, Dacey's Chief. He has had the 3 runs for Tommy. I thought he was pretty good 2 starts to go behind Claretown Sadie. He drew the squeeze box. He made a lot of ground late in the race. I think the most important thing with this race, Mossy Boots was brilliant last week, winning from a wide box in a feature race, but does draw outside Sagai Miss, who does have speed, does like to use a track on the first corner. So I think if Daisy's Chief can begin on terms, he's going to have the speed to get himself in a close enough position on that first turn and hopefully be too strong late in the piece.
Very nice. Map-related, stick with Greyhound number 1, Daisy's Chief. If Sagai Miss can take care of Mossy Boots, Daisy's Chief just needs to boot up on the rail and cash in from there. We've got race 3, number 2, Duffman. Race 7, number 1, Valpolicella, the best of them. Race 9, number 1, Daisy's Chief. That's the north of Australia taken care of. Let's get to the south. All right, down there onto the Apple Isle for a big night of chasing at Hobart. Of course, their biggest race of the year, the Hobart Thousands, drawn together some very, very talented chasers from the mainland.
Yeah, great night of racing down there in Hobart, their biggest night of the year. Hotel Whiskey won for Anthony Azzopardi, inconspicuous, also for Azzopardi. They were both brilliant last week. You've got Flying Zulu for Jason Thompson and a few local hopes. You got Trey Fustus. She won at a large price last week, showed brilliant speed. So I think it's going to be a really cracking edition, obviously, and it's really deep this year. I think you can go plenty of ways and potentially get a result out wide.
Alrighty, so that's the feature. Comes up tonight there at 6:49. Race number 8 on the program. Of course, the great Tommy Shelby won the Hobart 1000 a number of years ago. Now, let's get your thoughts, though, for the remainder of the program. Who should we be teaming up with down there in Hobart?
Yeah, race 2, number 6, Veronica Lodge. This bet is very much map-related. Eaton, his colours were lowered last start in a feature race at Launceston and drew the 8, wasn't able to get across, did finish towards the rear of that field, has trialled well since then. However, I don't know if he's the most genuine dog out of the boxes just yet. He's obviously very, very talented, and I do expect him to be on the mainland very short time. You've got Simply Express also, who's not the most genuine beginner. So I think Buster Scruggs here in box 5 can get the better of those 2 early in the race, and he does like to cut and run. So I think Veronica Lodge will get plenty of room to move early. She was good winning at Launceston on Monday night. And most importantly, she has a slow beginner in box 7 and a dog that does like to hold his line in box 8. So she's going to get a clear run. Whether she's good enough, I'm not too sure. But if there is any buffering of those favourites, I think she'll definitely be within the finish.
I can understand why you're throwing it out as an each-way option. 11 and 245, and recent form's been very, very good. No further back than fourth at its last 10 starts. So Veronica Lodge each way with a nice map and good recent form. 11 and 245 each way. Race 2, number 6, the first of the plays tonight for Jace. On to race number 6.
Yeah, race 6, number 1, mile a minute. Made him the best of the night for me. He was really, really well back last week against Hotel Whiskey 1. He drew box 8. He wasn't able to lead him out of the boxes. Hotel Whiskey 1 produced absolutely eye-shattering run. His second section was unbelievable. Overall run the fastest time out of the 7 Group 1 heat. Mile a minute gets into the consolation here. Box 8 to box 1. Second look at the track. Ticks every box for me. Doesn't have a great deal of pressure drawn directly outside him. Think he'll lead. Think he'll win. Looks the best thing on the night and probably potentially across the country. And wouldn't even surprise me, Shorty, if he does give that track record a bit of a tiggle.
All right, very nice push for the Greeno train runner, mile a minute off the red in race number 6. And we round things out in race number 10, the lucky last race on the program tonight down there in Hobart.
Yeah, sign of the red box again here. Remember Tommy. He is very short, obviously, punters. Probably a dog that you should put into your multi, just give it a little boost. Both his starts in Tasmania to date, he's won by large margins at Launceston and running really fast time. He's a dog that should win tonight. I think we can follow into the future. He looks set to go straight through his grades. I think he can get to the top grade and be a sprinter down there for a very long time to win a lot of races. So I think, remember, Tommy will be chalking up the win in the last race at Hobart.
Very nice. Race 2, number 6, Veronica Lodge. The best of them, race 6, number 1, mile a minute, and race 10, number 1, Remember Tommy. Thoughts for Jason Campbell tonight down there in Tasmania, their big program, Hobart 1000 night. Magnificent catching up with you, JC. Appreciate your time as always. We'll catch up with you again this time next week for our next edition of Great Greys. Until then, many winners.
No worries. Thank you, Shorty.
This is your home of the Greyhound Good Oil, Great Greys.
And it's time to catch up with the Hall of Famer Neil Brown for all the latest there at Sandown on another busy Thursday night. Brownie, great to be catching up with you. We had a big time of it here. Simo put together another magnificent production on Sunday night to celebrate 50 years of greyhound racing in WA, and the Great Miata was named the number 1 greyhound over that 5-decade period.
Yes, looked a fantastic night. I've been able to see plenty of photographs, and in actual fact, it's a happy anniversary today, isn't it, David? The 12th of December 1974.
Indeed.
So, and 50 years of greyhound racing in the West, and they've been fantastic years. And all the greats named, and plenty of greats in attendance too, no doubt, David, last Sunday night.
It was a wonderful evening. I was lucky enough to sit with Eileen Langston, who, along with Grant, were two of the big successful trainers going back into the 80s and early 90s. The great Dot Horton and Mandy were also sitting on my table. They trained an absolute pile of winners as well through that period of time. And right around the room, just so many familiar and wonderful faces that have helped to make WA greyhound racing what it's been over the last 5 decades. It was absolutely superb. There's been lots of good stuff going on in your neck of the woods, Neil, and it looks set to continue. A bit of WA flavour as well. The favourite for tonight's Group 2 Laurels Classic final, Miss Envy, draws box number 5 for Crystal and Steve Shinners. She was most impressive last week, breaking the 29-second barrier, and of course, if you don't see that all that often, she was most impressive, and heads into the final tonight, just having to overcome that awkward draw.
Yes, she looks very hard to beat, David. Be a very game person to tip against her. She joins elite company if she can win tonight. There's only been 2 greyhounds win the National Sprint Championship and the Laurels. The mighty Winifred Bale back in 1983, and of course the mighty Western Australian, the best sprinter of the last 50 years, Sandy's me mum. She won the Laurels and the National Sprint on 2 occasions. Of course, come back to Sandown after winning it in 89 and won it in 1990 at Sandown Park, the mighty Sandy's me mum. So it's been a great race, steeped in history, first run in 1964. So 60th running tonight, and she looks very hard to beat, doesn't she, David? Will we kick off with our selections? Pretty tough meeting, Dave.
Yeah, it is. Go ahead, Brownie. Let's get your thoughts for the early quaddie.
Okay, wide open race to start us off, a grade 7 over the 5.15. I'm going to take 2, 1 and 5. I've got Do Something on top. Not far from a win, I think. It's been close enough. Race number 2, second leg of the early quad, mixed 6th and 7th grader here over the 5.15. I'm going to take 1, 6 and 7. I've got the one on top, Queen Envy. I think the draw, well drawn, and does come out of a box okay. I think it's the greyhound to beat in the second leg. Race number 3, I'm going to take 8, 3 and 1. It's a mixed 4th and 5th grade over the 5.15. Good quality race. He's a terrific chaser, Vincent Bale. I know he's out in the 8 tonight, but he's got a wonderful record at Sandown, 7 and 4 from 17. And he has won a couple from box number 8. I've got him on top. And I think Fernando Phil and Stormy Day have got chances in the race. And the rounding it off with the 4th, the final leg of the early quad, a mixed 3rd and 4th grade here. I'm going to take 1, 5 and 2. I've got Werris Bar. I think it's beautifully drawn. It goes okay here, so I've got a win of 34.08, classy greyhound, and I think it can win the last leg and round off the early quad for us. It gets more difficult here, David, as we go into the main quad, a grade 5 over the 5.15, very hard race. I've gone wide in a couple of these legs. I'm taking 1, 3, 8 and 7 in the first leg, and I think I left the favourite out. It's a wide open race. I've got Sipping Spartan on top. I think it's just the best drawn. It's a pretty tough race. I think Kalinda Rise has got some sort of chance, and the 2 drawn out wide on the track, Zodiac Bale and El Crimpador also got chances. So wide open first leg, 1, 3, 8 and 7 for us. Second leg, again, similar sort of a race here over the 5.15, a grade 5. I made it 4, 5 and 6. I've got Aston Florin on top. Has some early speed. There's not a lot of early speed around the greyhound. I think it might be able to lead here. But definitely chances to Rihanna's Pride. And here comes Blue. They've got good form on the track at Sandown, and they're going to be thereabouts 4, 5 and 6 in the second leg. Third leg tonight, very wide open affair here over the 5.15, a grade 5. I'm taking 2, 3, 1 and 6. I've got Reaper on top. Only a youngster, only had about a dozen starts or so. Shown some early pace, and I did like the last start, best of the night win at Shepparton. Pretty impressive. He would have been around Sandown Park from the Jason Thompson kennel for sure. I think he can win, but definitely chances to power paws. And poor Frederick, drawn wide on the track tonight, and the Red Runner, Feet of Strength. So a tough third leg. Coming home with the laurels and the time-honoured event, I'm taking 5, 2 and 6. I think she wins. Very impressive run. Very difficult thing to do, break the 29 seconds, and she's been in super form. An enormous run in the Melbourne Cup to run third in that sort of company against her own sex tonight. I think she wins. 2 greyhounds racing well. Certainly Bunstorm, the South Australian Oaks winner, has drawn okay in 2. And Rosa Marie from the Paul Bartolo kennel. Paul knows how to get one home in a group race, and she's racing very well and was pretty impressive last week. So I think they're the 3 greyhounds to beat, with Miss Envy on top, the WA champ. And I think she just gets home tonight as the class runner. Wasn't too many standouts, David, so I'm going to have a multi in the last 2. I think they'll both win. Race 11, number 2, Extreme Wheels, taking with the red upset Sunset in the last, and we might get a bit of value even though they're both fairly short. So good luck and good punting at Sandown Park. Looking forward to the Silver Chief, David, on Saturday night. Gee, it's a competitive race, isn't it?
It certainly is, and we'll be cheering really hard for the man that is part of our great GREYS team here. We spoke to him earlier. He's so excited, still chasing his first Group 1 as a trainer, Brownie, and he goes in with realistic claims because Iconic Jet is going super at the moment. He's got that good early pace. He's probably going to need it given that the dog's drawn in box number 6, but his trial was really good around that 29.53 range, and from box number 2 last week did an excellent job winning its heat.
Yeah, it's a classy race. All these youngsters are racing really, really well in good form. There's a stack of early pace. I'm just concerned at how they're all going to get to the first turn and what's going to be what. And the 6 sort of box is the only worry for me about Iconic Jet. He's certainly good enough to win it. He's got explosive mid-race pace down the back, as we've seen of his handful of starts. I think he's only had 19 starts so far in his career. He's got a big future in front of him. But here's some terrific greyhounds. Epitomise in there. The red can go okay. Giacomo and Deadly Avenger. It's got a bit of experience and run good times. It's a terrific race. I think I'm leaning towards the dogs drawn on the inside. I think Deadly Avenger might be able to get a little bit of luck in running, but I wouldn't be surprised with what wins the race. It's a ripper race. The Silver Chief, also steeped in history. It started in 1964, David, as well, for the male greyhounds and the youngsters. So got some great greyhound racing coming up here in Victoria over the next week or so, and leading into the Phoenix, which we'll have a look at next Saturday. For next Saturday night, we'll have a look at next Thursday, David.
It's going to be spectacular. A great time for all involved in Victorian greyhound racing at the moment. We'll be following it very closely across here on the West Coast. And, of course, good luck to Miss Envy and also Iconic Jet in the two big features over the next couple of days. Appreciate your time as always, Neil. Have a ripper weekend.
Good on you, David. Speak to you next week, mate.
There we have it, the Hall of Famer Neil Brown, absolute ornament to the sport. He's been a wonderful man for greyhound racing for a very long period of time, continues to do a wonderful job. We have, how long until our next race here? I think the next race for broadcast, race number 2 at Kyneton, 10:55 here, so we've got about 13 minutes until they jump there for the second. Quick look at the market there. Kira is our $2.40 favourite on the fixed in front of Platinum Reggae, and Miss Magoo's at $4.80. Maddie, any news from that protest out of race number 1 at Kyneton yet?
It's still being heard. Dibs are still displayed as interim, 3rd v 2nd.
Alrighty, well, let's get into our next guest on this Thursday morning here on Great Greys. Does a wonderful job helping to identify the winners and talk us through the latest news in South Australian greyhound racing each and every week. That is Sean Matheson, and another busy night of chasing across there. And, of course, coming off what was a huge week over there in South Australia with the pink ball test. It didn't last all that long. The Aussies got the better of it. Travis Head was able to star in his own hometown, and it just sounded like there was an absolute buzz over there for the entire few days that was all going on. Let's find out from the man himself, Sean Matheson. Hello, Sean. Welcome to Great Greys. And how was it over there last weekend?
Oh, it was terrific, David. Yeah, great to be on the show with you again this morning. As I think you mentioned last week, just the support, particularly around the Indian team, and obviously playing at the Adelaide Oval under lights against the Aussies. What a wonderful atmosphere was had. Yeah, it only went around that 3 days, but the supporters turned up. I think the first 2 days had 50,000 people there each day. An amazing effort. But, yeah, just the added benefits that these sort of events provide in and around the city, because obviously Adelaide Oval's right in the heart of the city, really. And so just a real buzz whenever these events are on. And last week was the same. The Aussies got the job done. The series tied 1-1, so it makes for a really good 5 Test match series as well.
Certainly does, yeah. It's levelled it up and made it very interesting heading up there to the Gabba this weekend for that 3rd test. Let's see if we can focus on the action on the track. We've got another very good program to look forward to tonight there, 12 racer out at Angle Park. Take us through your thoughts on what's an excellent evening. I note that we've got all of these fire-related races going on, the Inferno, we've got the Bonfire, also we've got the Ashes a little bit later on as well. So a night for the firebugs there trackside.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just a little bit of history. These series were introduced. This is the 4th year we've run it, and it all dated back to we initially wanted to be one of the inaugural slot holders in the Phoenix, and South Australia would have loved to have got a greyhound in that event, but alas, we were not selected as one of the lucky 8 at the time, and so our board felt that the sort of money we were going to look to try to get a South Australian dog in the Phoenix, which we, as I said, we would love to have done. I look to then put it back into some of our local events and create this sort of series, which is a really terrific one for our local participants, our owners, just leading up to Christmas. And as you mentioned, the quality of the racing tonight with all of these heats, which will all lead into finals next Thursday night, like over $100,000 in prize money next Thursday night. It's a wonderful initiative, and all born because we had a little bit of unluck not getting into the Phoenix, but it creates these wonderful races. And so for the listeners, the best bet that I'll give to the listeners is in race 1, and it's number 5, Cabello Opal for Kim Johnson. She's quoted around the $3 mark. She's on the second line of betting. I just think she's got a vacant box on her inside. She's been running against the likes of Daddy's Girl, Departed, Fantastic Spike. Probably a slight drop back in class for her here in this Inferno heat. I just think she can just begin well, just land right on the speed, and she's shown that she's really strong in the latter part of her race. So I think she's going to be really, really hard to hold out as the first of our plays tonight.
Race 1, we're teaming up with number 5, Cabello Opal for Kim Johnson, around that $3.10 mark, and it's got its paw on the till after placings at its last couple of starts. On to the second of your plays tonight there at Angle Park.
Second of the plays, as I said, I think there's plenty of value to be had tonight. So the next one comes up in race 5, and it's number 3, Black Chip for Michelle Moon. This is over the $5.95, and this is one of our bonfire heats. He was a good winner 2 runs ago. You might say got a little bit of luck just in the home straight, but he did go 34-38, stuck to the rails and ran home really powerfully. Ran another terrific race last week in running third, drew off the track over the $5.95, found a little bit of traffic early, but made really good ground in the back straight and was only beaten just under 2 lengths behind Kenya Striker, who he meets tonight. The key for this dog wants to be on the rail and is very strong late. So he's quoted at $6.50. I think drawn nice and close. He's going to be really, really close in the final part of the race, and I reckon he's terrific value at that price.
All right, so race 5, number 3, a Black Chip, good value around that $6.50 and $2.80 tonight there in a heat of the bonfire. And the third of your plays tonight at Angle Park, Sean.
The third of the plays comes up in race 7, and it's number 4, Hot Lips for Nicole Price. This is the first heat of the Ashes, which is our main series. It's a $20,000 to the winner final, but Hot Lips comes into this race off some really good consistent form, a couple of good placings, and I was really taken with her win last start. She missed the start completely, railed really strongly, and railed up the inside of Pet Detective, and we know Pet Detective has been in red-hot form, the Gawler Cup winner, but she put him away in the front straight the last time, raced away to win by 2 lengths in 30.52. Again, I think she's drawn, she should be able to work her way towards the rail. There's a scratchy on the inside. There's only 2 dogs on her inside. So I think that she'll be able to get to the rail. I just think there's going to be a run for her late. And whilst it's a step up in class, the $6.50 I think represents really good value for her, even though, it's, as I said, it's a strong race, but I reckon the right run's going to be there for her late in the event.
Fair enough. 3 plays tonight. Angle Park, race 1, number 5, Cabello Opal, race 5, number 3, Black Chip each way, and race 7, number 4, Hot Lips. We also have Chasing Murray Bridge on Friday. Angle Park has the early meeting there on Saturday morning, and Gawler on Sunday. Anything of note at those programs?
Okay, so Murray Bridge tomorrow, only an 8-race program tomorrow, but I like race 8, number 1, Sudoku Nala for Rob Harness. She came through the Oaks series. Not much luck there at Murray Bridge. Box 1, she's a really good inside draw greyhound. She should be able to lead this race and win pretty easily, I think, tomorrow at Murray Bridge. As you mentioned, the Saturday morning meeting, David, this is more heats of our sort of Festival of Fire, which has the Spark heats and also a newly introduced short course heat called the Ember. So what I like there for the listeners is race 6, number 8, Tura Terry for Laurie Carlin. A good placing last week off an inside draw. This dog loves a wide draw. So box 8 is going to suit him down to the ground. He should have plenty of clear running, be up on speed and should be able to hang on there. And then at Gawler on Sunday, this is now a morning meeting, David, as well, due to the hot weather forecast. It'll be running in the morning SA time, so quite early there for our WA listeners. But I like race 4, number 1, Nitro Neo for Harry Trengo. Looks a 2-dog race between him and One Last Kiss, is drawn box 8. He did run third behind One Last Kiss, who ran second last up, but I think drawn much better Nitro Neo and will be a slightly better price. I reckon can lead and win there on Sunday morning.
Beautiful. Murray Bridge Friday, 8-1 Sudoku Nala. Angle Park Saturday, race 6, number 8, Turateri. And Gawler Sunday, race 4, number 1, Nitro Neo. Beautifully done, Sean. Appreciate your time. All the very best to yourself and all the team across there in South Australia. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, terrific, David. Thanks for your time.
There we have it, Sean Matheson with all of the latest in South Australian greyhound racing. It's now 9 minutes away from 11. We'll throw back to Matty McDermott, find out the latest on that protest. We're 4 minutes away from our next race of the day here at Kyneton. We'll round out the program with our chat to our good mate Simon Orchard, talking all things New South Wales chasing.
And dismiss that protest, 3rd v 2nd, paying on the judges' numbers. Race number 2 going to the start in 3. Kira is the tote favourite, 260 number 7, and is 230 in from 420 in fixed betting with Tab Touch. It's due in 3 from now.
You are tuned into Shorty and the team on Great GREYS.
And Simon Orchard now joins us to have a look at all things New South Wales greyhound racing over the next few days. G'day, Simon.
G'day, Shorty. G'day, listeners. How you doing, mate?
Really well, thank you, mate, albeit very warm. We've got a bit of a hot streak going on over here in WA at the moment. Nonetheless, we're all very excited. Cannington reopening for its first meeting back on Saturday night. Then we've just celebrated 50 years of greyhound racing here in WA, so it's been all happening.
Well, there you go, mate. Fun fact, my first ever night on a greyhound track, believe it or not, was at Cannington when I lived over there for the AIS hockey, well, it used to be the AIS hockey program. It's now Hockey Australia's hockey program. But my first night as a young guy was at the Cannington Dogs about, nearly 20-odd years ago now. So there you go, a bit of history.
We may have even crossed paths all those years ago. Who knows, Simon? No, we didn't know each other like we do now, but there's plenty of great greyhound racing going down across there in your neck of the woods over the next little patch, and busy time as well for a lot of the clubs, having plenty of Christmas parties and the like at these different tracks all over New South Wales.
Yeah, you're spot on, mate. The program shifted a little bit, and I guess, look, let's be honest here. We've got this brand new race, the Paul Wheeler, Simply the Best, a wonderful race in honour of a great man, a lasting legacy, hopefully, moving on into the future. But I've got to admit, Shorty, when we saw that there was 4 heats, a little bit disappointed. Now, I guess you could say, well, don't put it on the same night as the Phoenix. Don't do it the same week as the Hobart 1000. And then all of a sudden you've probably got a few more heats. But taking nothing away from the race, because it still means every bit as important, obviously, to the family and connections and to the greyhound world. But if I'm honest, mate, we wanted more. We wanted better dogs. We've still got some really high calibre ones. Dal Winnie, the track record holder, of course. And we've got some Group 1 winners and group performers. But it would have been nice to see some bigger names and more heats. Blue Camaro comes back after winning the $1 Million Chase. But there is a few vacant boxes come Saturday night. It's not going to take the lustre off the eventual winner, but we want to see, 6, 7, 8. We've just gone through a Melbourne Cup where you see the Ridgy Didge best of the best. We've got some injuries. We've got people away with Christmas. So we might need to look at just tweaking that a little bit next year. But, I don't want to be a downer. But still some good racing coming up this Saturday night. Musselbrook Cup on Sunday as well. And then we go to the final of the Paul Wheeler Simply the Best, 75K, December 21, mate. So, things have been changed up a little bit, but still some great racing to come in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and a man that's meant so much to this sport of greyhound racing, just a phenomenal human being that puts so much into the sport. And his breeding, his stud dogs, his bitches, if you think greyhound racing, Paul Wheeler certainly springs to mind. We're pretty close to jump time here at Kyneton on race number 2, Matty. I'll swing back to you, and when we return, we'll get all of the key plays for the weekend of chasing upcoming with Simon Orchard.
You're listening to Great GREYS on Tab Radio.
Well, we're catching up with Simon Orchard and having a look at New South Wales chasing over the next 72 hours. Simon, I'll handball across to your good self. Take us through where we can be investing over the next little patch.
Sure, Shorty. 3-6 at Casino, mate. That's where we're going to hopefully get Thursday off to a good start. So 3-6 Balf Street Boy. Then we head to Dapto tonight. 4-4 Rosebery Hustler, absolute track and trip specialist, 36 starts down there for 20 wins and 12 minors, and box 4 loves it, absolutely loves it. A couple of these dogs getting a bit longer in the tooth, but still Rosebery Hustler, the best bet on the card down there, 4-4. Tonight at Wenty, we'll be there, trackside, so you can jump on and hopefully see myself and a couple of the boys talking some form. 6-1 Hong Kong and 7-1 Red Hot Frankie, the two best bets on the program. Hong Kong was a great winner last week. The time, 29.6 or thereabouts, was really, really good, and I think it can improve again. And Red Hot Frankie, well, a really hot Masters race. Red Hot Frankie, Embrace, Showman Jack, Father Rick, a bunch of feature wins between them, but Red Hot Frankie was superb for cackling Jack Smith a couple of weeks ago. I think she can go back-to-back. So 6-1 and 7-1 tonight. And just quickly, Shorty, Saturday night, Paul Wheeler, simply the best. We've got 4 heats, as I mentioned. And the best bets, 5-4 Sammy Ethan and 6-6 Aiden's Warrior, a dog that continues to emerge as maybe a star of 2025, if not already. So 5-4 Sammy Ethan, 6-6 Aiden's Warrior. Watch Dalwhinnie go round in the 7th. And then the Musbrook Cup on Sunday, 8-3 West Rock Casey. Did a story on thedogs.com earlier this week about West Rock Casey, and hopefully that dog can get up and give its trainer, Mary Hughes, an absolutely beautiful $25,000 Sunday afternoon. There you go, mate. Best bets around the state the next couple of days.
Beautifully done, as always. We'll be watching out for a West Rock Casey, and of course Saturday night there with the Wheelers, 5-4-6-6. And make sure you tune in tonight, thedogs.com.au, to see this handsome man at his very best, Simon Orchard. Beautifully done, Simon. Appreciate your time as always, mate. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll catch you again next Thursday.
You too, Shorty. Happy punting. Hooroo.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au.